Hello everyone, this is Sam from Atri. In this video, we'll learn how to create this beautiful website from portfoliotemplates.webflow.io step by step. While we are looking at how to build this website, we will talk about some good principles on how to apply CSS. We'll also talk about some common mistakes that beginners usually do. Okay, so let's start this tutorial with first of all studying this website. So this website has a nav bar on top. Okay, the nav bar looks like it's separated into two parts. One is the left part, one is on the right part. So one of the important things while making a website is to figure out alignment, like the design, like how different elements in the design are aligned. Okay. After that, we have a big section, the hero section, where there is some text. Okay, and it looks like this text is divided into three parts. Just heading text over here. Okay, this is the top part, then this is the second part which is underlined, and this is then the third part. Okay. Now after that, there is this past project section. Okay, where each of the project is divided into two different sections. Okay, one which has some details, the other which has a snapshot of that project. This is the second project. This is the third project, fourth project. Now there is this, I guess, about me section. Yeah. So who is behind all this great work? And so basically, this is going to be column flex box with three different sections. Picture on the right. Okay. This looks like a section which can be created using grid. So here, author is trying to mention his or her skill. The again over here, the top bar is divided into two parts. One is the left and the right. Then this is articles and news sections, where again each of these articles or news is divided into two parts. Like each section is divided into two parts. One is the left and one is the right. And then comes this section where there is again two parts. One is this image and this text on the left. This text is in itself divided into many subparts. Then finally the footer section. Footer section has, like, I guess, one part over here. You can say like one column over here. This is the second column. This is the third column, and one more row at the bottom. Okay. So we'll try to build this website step by step. We'll also look at some common mistakes that beginners generally do while applying CSS. Okay. So this is an Atri editor where we can easily play around with CSS. We can make beautiful websites. We can write custom code and make sites from e-commerce to your blogging website, or maybe just a portfolio website, as we are going to make in this video. Okay, so this let's study this navbar again. Two parts, one on the left, one on the right, with some white space on the left and some white space on the right. It looks like the white space on the left and white space on the right are equal. Okay, then this looks like one single group because each of these are equally spaced. Okay, so let's go ahead and try to make it over here. So we'll drag and drop a flex box. The flex box is basically a normal div with display property set to flex already for you. Okay, so we drag and drop a flex box. Remember, when you actually create a div with display flex, the default height for that div will be 0 and the default width will be 100% of the parent. In this case, the parent is actually the body. Okay, so that's why the default width is the entire width of the parent. Okay, that implies that we don't need to provide any width to this div, right? We can leave this div as it is. Sorry, we can leave the width of this div as it is. Okay? So let's go ahead and drop some more div. So these, like, we'll drop one div for the left part, one div for the right part. I'll take a flex box, one for the left part, one for the right part. Okay. Mm. We will now set in most of this video, we'll be playing around with these properties which are related to flexbox. Okay. So let's let's spread out the two flex boxes at the end of this parent box. Okay. So we will do justify content space between. Okay. So these two flex boxes are at now two ends. Now let's go ahead and drop the text box. Again, a text box in the 3 editor is actually a div. Uh, yeah, it's actually a div, nothing more than that, with some default text already written inside it. Okay. So here is a text box. We'll go ahead and drop it. It appears on the top over there. Here we have another flex box. So, okay. So now we will let's come again and see. Okay, the second part has like 5 text boxes, or let's say 3 text box, one drop down, which we'll make a custom drop down. So basically, one text box and one icon or image and one more image. So let's go ahead and do this. 3 text boxes, 1, 2, 3. Let's go ahead and write some content, otherwise it will be confusing. Yeah. So just text box, we have web flow. Okay. This text box, we have about portfolio and contact. So about, so to change the text, I'm just clicking on that element, then selecting the settings, which we call custom panel, and we're just going to edit the text about portfolio and contact. Okay. Now it looks very ugly as of now, but it will very soon look amazing. Okay, then we'll go for pages. So let's go with one flex box, and we'll put the icon and the text box inside it together. So this is the flex box, and one let's go ahead and use an image component. No problem with that. Okay, so we will component is actually a IMG element under the hood. Okay? So this text will be pages. Pages. Okay. Let's work and one more image component that will drag and drop later. But first of all, let's work on the alignment and positioning. Okay. So we see that it the author has left some left and right space. So we'll go ahead and give some padding to this flex box, the outermost flex box. Okay, so if I go to component navigator and analyze, so this is the outermost flex box. We'll give some padding to this flex box. So let's go ahead and give it 40. Okay, 40 is very less. So let's give 150. Yeah, I think 150 will work, and 150 from there. So it seems that it has like equal padding from the left and the right. So 150 looks fine. Okay. Or actually, the better way will be, this is, I think, a mistake, because here the author wants this this as a center section. Okay. So what we should actually do is, instead of giving some padding, we'll remove this padding. We don't need this padding. Okay. Instead of using this padding, we'll drag and drop one more flex box, and we'll just move this entire flex box inside this flex. Okay. So we have wrapped that flex box inside this. Okay. Now we'll make this flex box. We'll make this outermost. We'll make this flex box take the 100% of the parent. Okay. But before that, oh, okay, let's go ahead and give it 100% of the parent. 100% parent. Actually, sorry, my bad. Let's give it 80% of the parent. Okay. So 80% looks fine, and we will center align it. So we'll choose this the outermost flex box, and we'll center align it like this. Okay. So now, doesn't matter what the screen size is, it, the center section will take 70%. So this will look like approximately. Now let's go ahead and give the parent box some top and bottom padding as well, so that it starts looking good. So from top, let's say 32. From bottom, let's say 32. Okay. Now let's come to this, the parent of these flex boxes over these text boxes over here. To choose the parent, I am just clicking on one of the child and pressing up arrow key. Okay. Now I've selected the parent. Okay. I will. So many beginners usually give spaces between these items using padding or margin. Okay. We are not going to do that. We are instead going to leverage property called row gap or column gap. In this case, we'll use column gap. So, because each of this item can be imagined as a column, about is in one column, portfolio is in another column, right? You can imagine it that way. And we are going to give it some column gap. So gap column over here. So let's say we'll give 20 pixels. Yeah, let's go ahead and look at the reference. It's a bit more, so let's go with 24. So 24 pixels. Yeah. Now the space between pages and this image, just actually before putting any image, let's go ahead and put an image over there. Okay. So we'll go to this custom section. So select image. I already have I'll have to upload a new image. So I'll just upload a new image. There is a down arrow, arrow down. Yeah, down arrow. So we see that new image over there. Again, over here, since this is inside a flex box, we are going to leverage this uh, column gap CSS property, and we'll give it 10. Why 10? Uh, because we have given 24 over here, to show that semantically these two elements are grouped, the space between these two elements should be less. Okay. Now let's go ahead and, so you see it has started looking better, right? A lot better. We have to make the shopping cart icon over here, but this seems it has like two parts. One is the shopping cart icon itself, and the other one is this number. So to do this, we might have to encapsulate them inside a parent, which can be a normal div. Okay. Let's go over here. We'll select a div, let's drop it anywhere. We don't need to be very particular about it, because we have component navigator, using which we can very easily place this div at a particular point. So this div is outside, like it's a direct child of this outer div. We'll just move it inside. So the way I did this is, I click on it, I move it to the right, okay, and leave my work. Okay, my bad. I'll have to open this. Okay. Now it's at the correct position. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put an image uh, component over there. We could have used icon as well, but let's go ahead with image. Okay, we will select shopping cart image. To do that, I just went to the custom panel, which is represented by this settings icon. Okay, and click on select image. This will pop up on the left. I'll just click over here. Okay, so now we have this setting. Sorry, now we have this shopping cart button over here. Now we need to add that number 0 over here. Okay, so let's go to this design. So this 0 is at the center of this entire black background, right? Uh, so it will be, so there are many ways to center text or center any elements inside a parent element. Okay, one is to use flexbox, which I generally prefer these days, or the other one is to use transform with translate CSS function. Okay, we'll today follow the approach of using flexbox. Okay? We'll go ahead and add flexbox over here uh, okay, as a child of this div. Okay, uh, many things got messed up, but don't worry about that. Once we are done with this flexbox, everything will come back to the original state. Okay. So let's go ahead and give it some width and height. Let's go 24 and 24 width and height. Okay, and let's give it 50% border so that it looks like a circle. 50% border, okay, so that it looks like a circle. Now we will give it. Let's go ahead and give it a background. The background will be black. Background is black. Okay. Now let's go ahead and put the text box inside. Okay, so the text box is inside it, but it looks a bit messy. We'll just go ahead and write it 0 over here. Okay, we are not able to see the text because it's also black in color. That is the default color. I default is inherit. I'm not very sure. So whatever is the parent font uh, color might get inherited, right? I'm not very sure. I'll have to check it. But let's go over here and make it white. Oh, sorry. I actually made the background white. I wanted to make uh, the font color white, right? So we come over here and I'll just remove the background. I don't want to apply any background. I want to apply type color. This which is inside this typography section. You see this typography section. I want to change the color from this typography section. So it's done now. The only thing is this text is not centered. So again, since we used a flex box, it's very easy to center. We'll just do align item center. So it got vertically centered. Then we'll do align justify content center. Okay. The, this is these two properties and the behavior of these two properties are related to what value do we have in flex direction. So currently we have row, which is the default value. That's why like vertically to center vertically we use align item, and to center horizontally we use justify content. Now it looks like almost like what we have over here. Now the last thing that remains is to position this entire thing properly so that it overlaps a bit with this shopping cart. Okay? To do that, before doing that, let's go ahead and revise the exact definition of position CSS position property with value absolute and value relative. Okay. So when we say an element is positioned absolute, that element actually gets positioned relative to nearest ancestor with non-static position. So this definition has three parts: relative to, nearest ancestor with non-static position. Right? So let's go to this component navigator and let's see who are the ancestors of this div. So this this flex box, which is the flex 23. So the nearest ancestor is div 11, which is the direct parent. And after that, it has a grain parent called flex 18, and after that is flex 16. Oh, sorry, that was it. Flex 16, and then flex 20, and then the body, right? The nearest ancestor is div 11, but the definition says nearest non-static position, right? And we haven't given any position property to div 11, so this does not qualify as the right ancestor as per the definition, right? We did not specify anything to flex 18, like we did not specify any position property to flex 18 or to flex 16 or to flex 20 or to body, right? So when we do not specify any position property, then it will be position relative to body. Okay, we can see that we will see that it gets position relative to body because we haven't specified any ancestor uh, position, any position property, right? The default position property is static. That's why the definition says non-static position, right? The default is static position, so non-static position. So let's go ahead and make it absolute. When we'll make it absolute, we'll see almost no change. So almost no change. These things move a bit up. Um, but actually they moved back to their original position when we did not have any like this div box over this flex box over here. Okay, this is associated with one more property of a position absolute. Okay, when we make something position absolute, the parent does ignores the width and height, or basically you can say parent ignores the bounding box of the child, the absolutely position child. So this parent over here does in a way you can say does not care about what space this child takes. Okay, that's why everything got positioned to what it was like before we have had this flex box over here. Okay, coming back to the definition. So if I'll provide any top or left now, it will let's go ahead and do top one. It will get position relative to the body, which is the top, right? You see it moves there. We do not want this, right? We want it to be position relative to what? Div 11. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and make this div 11 non-position. Now, one of like the obvious choice will be position that we make it non-static by giving it relative position, right? So we gave div 11, which was the direct parent of this zero thing, right? Um, we gave it like relative. Now the position is whatever top and left we give to this zero thing will be with respect to its parent. Right? So let's go ahead and put it 18 top and 18 left. Okay, it seems okay. So it's now correctly positioned. It looks almost like what you have over here. Okay, so in different screen sizes the gap will be different, but everything will be center aligned. Right? The entire center. Now the last thing that remains is to give it a good typography. So I'll just go ahead and add a font. To add font, let's go to Google Fonts. Let's search for IBM Flex Sans. You can use any font you want. We will select all the different types of font weight and font size that we want. Okay, so let's say you only want extra light font weight with font style italic, then you can only select that one. Okay, but let's go ahead and select. Let's say I'll select actually multiple ones so that I can choose from one of these directly from the editor. Okay, cool. So what I'll do, I'll just go over here. I'll select import. I'll copy this URL and I'll paste it inside the editor in this resource manager. I'll just paste it over here and I'll do import. Okay. So now if we go to typography section, Now we'll see we have IBM Plex stance. We'll select IBM Plex stance. So the way typography, the font family works is that the children we applied font family to the parent, right? To this Plex 16, which is actually uh, over here, right? We applied typography to this parent. It got inherited by all the children because the default value for font family is inherit. Okay, the default value for font family CSS property is inherit. That's why all the children acquired that font style. Now we'll just go ahead and make the weight different. We'll have a thicker weight or basically a higher weight for the flow X. Uh, so we'll make it, let's say, bold. Okay, and we'll make it a bit large. So let's go ahead and make it, let's give it 32 points. So everything looks good, well positioned. The position and the alignment is good. So okay, you can like click on build and run. The website will get published, and you can see it in different tabs in a new tab. Okay. So when you run build and run for the first time, it's going to take some time because it's going to install a lot of packages. So I cut this video over here, and I'll just move it where you can see the generated result. Okay. So it has completed build and run. Now we can click on this link and we can see the result. Here we see that the space on the left and right is not as what is over here. So we can play around with that, or we can leave it the way it is right now. Okay. So let's go ahead and look at some ways in which people do mistake in this. So I have this navbar mistake page already created for this demo. So in this we see like there are many mistakes. One of them is that the user has used left and right padding, I guess, or maybe the width. Okay, the user has used left padding to actually position this title over here. Also, the parent, the outermost parent, I think user has used margin. Okay, so you should not use margin. Try to use padding as much as possible. There are many problem with margin. Okay, you might have heard about one such problem called, I think I can search it not called overlapping margin. Okay? Overlapping margin problem. You can search it. So the rules of margin collapse or mastering margin collapsing. So these are like, why do we have these resources? Because margins create this problem. Okay? So don't use margin unless and until it's absolutely necessary. Okay, that's one thing. Now we see that things are not positioned well over here. Let's look at this example again. I think the same is. Oh, actually, these two examples are the same. Let's get same. Yeah, let's review some other. Okay, here to instead of using flex like the column gap and row gap property, the user is using like let's say left padding. I think yeah, left padding 300 or something like that. Okay, in this one, instead of having a parent on the outside which has like some padding and then we have the main content, like if we go over here in this page you'll see we have outermost parent and then we have this thing, and outermost parent takes care about take care about the space around this content, right? So that could have been the strategy, but over here the user is using some left padding, some right padding, and it's like inconsistent, right? We I have here also to give some space between uh this nav item. User is using what do you say, padding, I guess. maybe, or width, maybe something like that. Okay. So, so you see, this is very simple if you know, this is very simple to build if you have mastered Flexbox. Okay. In this entire tutorial, most of the time we were using Flexbox properties, and just to do this zero thing, we actually touched position related properties, right? So I think that the cover. Oh, one more mistake that I frequently see is that y- sometimes users cover things in unwanted parents. For example, this has an unwanted parent. Over here, we can see. Let's go. So this is text box 22. So, okay, so this text box has a flex box which is not needed at all. If I pull this out and if I just delete this flex box, I press the wrong key. So just delete, I just select that element and I press delete key. You see, it's still the same. So you don't need to wrap a lot. Cool. I think this is it about the video. Thank you for watching. We'll make more videos in this series to cover rest of this section where we'll cover how to do it, and then we'll look at how like what are the ways people make mistakes. Thank you for watching.